Shabbat Shalom, Israel. I want to give a call out Yahweh by Shem myself, woman like Yahushua. That's in the Paleo Hebrew, giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, being the name of the dear Heavenly Father, and his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, being Yahushua. Soldier Donovan with the Battle Axes of the Most High. Let's continue to give out the edification, continue to push his truth, and continue to do the things in the Most High God's name. Like I said, Shabbat Shalom, the brothers and sisters that will tune in. Shabbat Shalom to the brothers and sisters that will tune in across the four corners of this earth. I just please pray that this class is edifying to the body, so we continue to magnify the ministry. The title of the class is How Long Will Your Mean Season Last? How long will your mean season last? Shalom, brother Jose, man. How you doing? I meant to check in on you too, man. I always forget that you out there in Cali, man. How you doing? We know the Lord reigning judgment down there, man. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get that'll be my opening precept. All praises. But how long will your mean season last? Because coming to this truth, we know that the Lord always speaks about winter. When you read Matthew chapter 24, when you read in Luke chapter 22, when you read in all these precepts and all these various topics, Luke chapter 21, Salaki, when you read in all these various precepts and things, you tend to understand that the Lord is always doing his most during the winter. Whether it's saying, hey, pray that you don't catch flight in the winter, continue to gather the harvest before the winter comes. It's a mean season. It's dead during this time. No life is springing during the winter. But sometimes when these seasons come in, it sends to tear brothers and sisters down, because this is what the Lord does. He does things in season. He does it in decency and in order. So when he comes to do these things, we have to be prepared and understand the situation at hand. So when these seasons come, we know how to get over the season. Because now it's springtime, and you're still dragging and dreading the woes that were in the wintertime. You got to be able to prosper whenever the Lord gives you adversity, because that's how he proves you in the fire, right? I want to go ahead and get that precept real quick, man. Just for my Ak out there, man, in Cali, man. They raining, boy, like Sodom and Gomorrah down there, man. But Ak staying down there. Call Halam, man. Let's get Sirach chapter 34 in verse 16 to start this off. Man, I gotta quit writing in pen, y'all, too, man. Salakia, man. Shalom. Uriah, brother Jonathan, man. Shabbat Shalom, you brothers. I'm gonna read Sirach chapter 34 in verse 16. It says, matter of fact, I'm gonna jump up to verse 15. Matter of fact, I'm gonna jump up to verse 14. Verse 14, it says, whoso feareth the Lord shall not fear nor be afraid, for he is hope. So this is even just, like I said, a salute to the brothers out there that may be over down that West Coast, man. And even all the brothers and sisters that may be going through any trials and tribulations. It says, whoso feareth the Lord shall not fear nor be afraid. Because the thing is, we're not scared of this world or what the things to come, because we know what they're ultimately destined by the Most High God to happen. Anything that goes on in our life that transpires on a day-in basis, it's meant to happen to you. It may be bad, it may be good. All these things are for the common good of the nation, whether it be judgment, chastisement. Guess what? Whether he's sifting you, whether he's proving you, you don't know how the Lord is doing these things, but they're all marvelous works by the Most High God, nevertheless, right? It said, for he is hope. Blessed is the soul of him that feareth the Lord. To whom doeth he look? And who is his strength? For the eyes of the Lord are upon them that love him. We know love is the keeping of the commandments, correct? We know these things of, guess what? John chapter 14, verse 15, 1 John 5 and 3. We know wisdom of Solomon. We know all these various precepts that we can go to show what love is, right? It says, for the eyes of the Lord is upon them that love him. He is their mighty protection and strong stay, a defense from heat, and a cover from the sun at noon, a preservation from stumbling, and a help from falling. So guess what? Even like I said for Brother Jose, man, this is why we have to love the Lord in these last days. Guess what? All hell is breaking loose over there on the West Coast, man. We see all these fires. It's scattering upon thousands of acres. People are losing their homes. People have nowhere to go. This is what the Lord is doing to Sodom and Gomorrah, man. But guess what? If you love the Lord and you're keeping his commandments and you're doing what he wants you to do, well, the Lord is your protection. He's your defense from heat, man. Like I know Hosea, he was saying in our class earlier, he was hot at work just because he didn't have enough water. Well, guess what? There's a lot of people in Cali that's just hot and they need a lot more than just regular water, man. Guess what? Jose got regular water. He got this living water for the word, man. And all praise to the Most High for that, man. It says a defense from heat, a cover from the sun at noon, and a preservation from stumbling and a help from falling. While we're going through these times and trials and tribulations, brothers and sisters, you always want to count the cost. I always want to know, why is the Lord putting you through this? Guess what? Self-reflect. Always examine yourself. 2 Corinthians 13:5, right? You always want to examine yourself in these times, knowing that, hey, am I in the right spirit? Is this just the Lord proving me, or is this judgment? And if it is judgment, well, guess what? Where do I go? What are my steps? Where's my repentance? What do I need to do in order to please the Lord? Because we want the Lord to be our biggest defense nowadays, man. We know that these things are getting closer and closer to the end. Everybody's stocking up on supplies, ammunition, weapons, survival tools, and kits. But ultimately, the Lord said, hey, I'm your defense. I'm your preservation from heat. Guess what? From falling, from the sun at noonday. Guess what? That's basically just going into affliction, man. When all these things are at the highest and Jacob's trouble is on this rise and then it's rampant, this is what we're going to be leaning on in these last days. So how long will y'all brothers and sisters mean season last? When will you gird up your loins, gird up your skirts, and just say, hey, I have to take this joyfully. And I know that the Lord will preserve me through these things, get me through it as long as I trust in him, right? Because it's a season for everything, right? Let's get Ecclesiastes chapter 3. So like your brothers and sisters, I know I'm kind of late on class. Had a passing of my loved one about a week or two ago. They just had to wake tonight, so kind of had class a little late. So Salakia for that, man. Through the power of how we're going to push through this thing and continue to try to make him proud, man. I'm trying to read some of these comments. Shalom, shalom, Sister Mary Houston, man. I sure did miss y'all, man, for the Feast of Dedications. Shalom, Ak Moses, lovely Lynn. Salaki, Sister Genesis, man. Shabbat shalom to all you brothers and sisters out there, man. Hope y'all staying warm inside. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 1. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. Guess what? There's a season, everything to the Lord. The Lord said to pluck up, to plant, to die, to be born. It's always a season for everything. Brothers and sisters have to know what season that you're in. We know going towards the winter time, towards the dedication, towards these new moons, towards just time, you know that, hey, it's gonna get hard. Jobs always tend to get harder. It's a lot of wicked holidays. It's a lot of temptation lingering during this time of the year. A lot of poverty. Bills are coming up. People may have to pay off their houses. They may have to pay the property tax. They may have to pay this tax. They're getting ready for tax season. Guess what? Them 1099s ain't short on nobody. All these things are coming upon us during the end of the year. And guess what? All these spirits, man, it's not just the carnal things of life, but guess what? It's this physical battle. You've been in this truth all the way from the beginning of Passover. You're getting towards the end of the year. Your candle's kind of burning out, man. You just got past the Day of Atonement. You done repented from your sins, but you didn't kindle a new fire. You didn't kick it in the second year to finish out the year. So you kind of trugging, you kind of sluggish, you kind of moving in a certain type of way that you're not used to. And now you're starting to burn out, man. You letting the world get to you, letting the things of your body kind of make you uneasy, unsettled. This is the season that the Lord is putting us through during this winter time and in this meat season. But we have to understand these things, being fluent in the scriptures, knowing that the Lord is dealing with us the most during this time. And we have to take the time prior to this to prepare our souls for this thing, man. I'm going to jump down to verse 6. It says a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away. It's always things that we need to do, right? It says a time to get this. Guess what? During the spring, the fall, during all this time in the beginning of the year, it was a time to get what? Knowledge, wisdom, understanding, right? Get enough that you need and harvest these things so that when the mean season comes, you have enough to ration yourself, right? That's why the Lord always compares us to plants, always compare things to agriculture. Guess what? Sifting, the wheat and the tares, harvesting. Because the Lord always wants us to store things, right? That's why we have storehouses. No, don't bring me 10% of your money so I can put it in my pocket for this down payment on this Benz. No, the Lord always wanted us to put our first for the Lord, store it up, and so that we can either lay it to heaven, or guess what? We keep it for ourselves when we fall on hard times, such as these seasons, right? The Lord has always wanted us to do these things. Why? So that when these seasons come, we're prepared, we're ready, and we can take it head on, man. I mean, just think about Salaki. Think about Joseph during the time in Genesis, right? When he was right-hand man to Pharaoh. Guess what? Joseph knew that the famine was coming. He had the interpretation. He prepared. He got all the food. He gathered it all. And guess what? The Lord used him. He fed all his brothers. He fed all his brothers. Fed his father. Fed his younger brothers. He did all these things. He did a marvelous work of the Lord, man, with these things, man. But he understood the season. Guess what? We understand the season. We know these are the last days. We know it because we can prove it through various scriptures, through, guess what, the back history, even what's going on now on the news every day. We know that we are in the last days. So brothers and sisters should be preparing their bodies for this season coming up. We know that, hey, if we're getting closer to the end and we got a mean season coming up, we should know that, hey, it's a lot more that's required of us, man. Brothers and sisters been in truth 10 years. Guess what? 5 or 6 years ago, it was a mean season. But guess what? As we get close and close to the end, it's going to get harder. The Lord has never said it was an easy thing, man. He said it's a straight and narrow path, man. If you go straight, you'll make it. But guess what? It's fire on this side and water on this side, man. It's a hard thing to get by. But as long as you stay diligent and you have to have discipline in this thing, you will make it through. Because the Lord said it's a time to cast away. So like it's a time to get and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. Guess what? When you get all these other things of the world coming into this mean season, you got to cast it away. You were supposed to cast it away during the Day of Atonement. Brothers and sisters still walking around with grudges, envies, backbiting, slanders towards one another. And you wonder why it's in a mean season and you dry it out on your luck, man. Because you never let it go. You got a whole bunch of BS, but you never put it away. We have to understand the seasons that we're going through so that we can come out. Because guess what? Once we get through this mean season, what are we looking at? Passover. You go from a mean season to sifting season, man. Because the Lord is waiting. Okay, they made it out the mean season, but they so weak. They no good to me, man. We know back in the day when the slave master used to work us, he said, hey, this nigga ain't no good for me, man. Yeah, he made it through the winter, but look, he all beat up and bruised. He can't work no more. We need to get them gone because when this harvest start coming back, we need harder workers. You have to be able to endure hardness as a good soldier, like Christ said, man. These are the things that we have to do, prepare ourselves so that when we go through these certain trials and tribulations, we still take it on the chin and we keep going. Think if Job fell during the time of him and doing all that enduring. Lord would be like, man, I can't bless you sevenfold because you gave up. Lord said, woe unto you that lost patience. These are how these things go. You have to have enough in the tank, not only to make it through the season, but guess what? To make it to the next season. Dang, I just got out of the mean season, but damn, it's sifting season. Do I got enough spirit in me to not get sifted? This is something we got to ask ourselves, man. But it says, verse 7, a time to rent and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. Guess what? We had the time to sow. Now we supposed to be we supposed to reap it, supposed to get it, keep it, store it, and keep it, man. The bad part we cast it away, and the good we keep, right? But we have to understand the seasons because if we don't, we'll get trapped and snared in these things. But also with all these seasons, the Lord gave us a way out in every single one of these seasons. He gave you a way to escape during sifting season, during the mean season. Guess what? During tabernacles, during the memorial blowing the trumpets, during first fruits. He is always giving you a way throughout this whole duration of the year. in order to flee sin and to get away from these things, right? Let's go to 1 Corinthians. First Corinthians chapter 10, a classic. I gotta excuse me, my Bible all beat up, man. The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 13. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me pretty well, brothers and sisters. The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 13. There have no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. When you look at these things and you look how the Lord is doing all these things, it might be the worst time. I'm going to tell you, this season, me being in this truth, this has been one of the hardest hardest winters that I've had, man. This is it, and I can flat out say it. And for a lot of brothers and sisters, y'all probably feel the same exact way. We might not have went through similar things, but guess what? These spirits are going across, man, so there's no telling. To losing loved ones, to low income in the household. Guess what? To your spirit friend down and vexed. All these things have been wearing on the saints, man. Guess what? To legislation, to different laws, to seeing one Edomite not lose power, one Edomite getting elected to another Edomite. All these things that we're going to go through as a nation of people to come. This has been a tough season, man. Losing brothers in the truth, gaining some brothers in the truth, losing some sisters in the truth, gaining some good sisters in the truth. It's just been a hard season for a lot of brothers and sisters. But with every mean season and every season that the Lord put you through, it says there's no temptation that it's like it taking you, but it's such as common to man. Everything that you can do that can get you out of the spirit, that can pull you away from this truth, there's nothing not common about these things, man. The same way that I'm going through something, another brother or sister probably went through, if not more. The same poverty I had, guess what? They had it too. Why? Because the Lord called us to poor the earth. It's just what it is. Shit, I mean, I know if I'm poor, guess what? A lot of us are poor, man. If I'm going through it, I know we all going through. We all under these curses, right? These are how these things go. We have to be mindful of these things so that we can strengthen each other through classes, through precepts, through just even a good phone call, man. These are the things and how we get through these seasons. It's with each other. My last class is we fight together, we win together. During the time of the Maccabean revolt, we came together as a nation and fought against these things, man. Some of our nation fell away to the wicked side, but some chose to stand for their God. During these mean seasons and all these times when these things get hard on each other, we have to lean on our own people. Because this is who we need at the end of the day. We fighting for Israel. Guess what? Yasharallah. Not the ones over there getting blown all the way to Timbuktu. But guess what? We fighting for our nation of people. So why not stand together right now and continue to strengthen one another so when these seasons do come, we can endure a good fight, man. What if you had a brother or sister who was a part of the 1/3, who just needed that help, needed that push, and you didn't give it to them? So the Lord took that spirit and put it in somebody else new. And now we got to wait a little longer until they can get it, until they can repent, until they can come back to the Lord wholeheartedly. Then he'll be like, okay, I'll come back. Come on, man. We got to be mindful of all these things. But it says there are no temptation taking you, but such as common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able. But with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. The Lord has always given us a way to take these things, get out of the situation, and bear it, man. The Lord said you have to bear your own cross. So if the Lord tell you to bear your own cross and bear your own burdens, guess what, man? This is your lot. You got to take it. It's not hard enough because guess what? If it was too hard for you, he wouldn't have gave it to you. This is how the Lord does things in decency and in order. That's in order to the Lord. It's to give you as much as you can take. Why? So that he can prove you faithful and say, hey, well done, my faithful servant, man. Thou has taken care of these small things. Now I will make you over many things, right? If you can't control your own spirit and control your household, how do you expect to be a God on this earth, man? If you can't reverence your husband, if you can't do the things in your own household and tend to your own household, how will you be a good princess, man? How will these things work? Truly grasp it in our minds, brothers and sisters. We always say, man, I'm a God on this planet. I'm going to rule this mud one day. Esau, you going into damn captivity, and I'm going to rule you with a rod of iron. We always say this. We always run up and down the block. But guess what? You're not even ruling yourself, man. You don't even have your thoughts into captivity. You don't have your mind into captivity. Your mind is still all off into the world. Guess what? You know better than Esau. So guess what? It said, though hand join in hand. So your hand is joined with Esau's hand when the Lord come back. You going into captivity too, man. AKA the lake of fire, man. This is how the Lord does things, and this is decency in order to him. This is how the Lord does things, and we have to understand it in order to get away from it, right? But how do you get out of your mean season? How do you get away from the wiles of the world? We know that it's always a way to escape, but sometimes we don't see it. Why? The Lord may have put a veil over us. Maybe we're not looking hard enough. Maybe we're not doing the thing that the Lord wanted us to do, right? Well, we got to find a way. I seen a post on social media. It said, I'm trying to remember it. It was like, the ball ain't just, okay. It says the ball is not just going to fall into your hands. You got to get open. Now, this is like a sports reference. Like, just play football. Think if a brother or sister was going out for a catch and you had somebody guarding you. Now, the ball isn't just going to magically float in the air like it do in the movies and just fall in your hand over the person defending you. No, you got to get open. If you want to receive blessings from the Most High God, and you want him to increase you, to protect you, you have to get away from the things that's hurting you or hindering you the most. Guess what? In this analogy, it'll be the defender. The ball being in the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, the protection, the Lord, right? And you being the one having to flee from sin. Get away from that old man, old woman. Get away from certain family. Get away from certain brothers in this truth. If they're truly vexing you, hindering you from your walk, and doing these things that's out against your God. That's the only way that the Lord will come to you, is you got to get away from everything else. The Lord has enmity with the world. And if you notice, you want to appease him, you have to do the things that he wants you to do. This is the only way that you'll get out your mean season. This is the only way that the Lord will increase you and allow you to make it through these seasons, right? Let's go to Hosea chapter 5 and verse 15. Hosea chapter 5 and verse 15. Y'all got to forgive me, man. I've been out there in that cold today. Man, it's trying to get me. The book of Hosea, chapter 5 and verse 15. I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face. In their affliction, they will seek me early. This is how the Lord wants you to do. That's the way to escape. If you want to make it out the mean season, you have to acknowledge your offense if you have any against the Lord. Go seek the Lord's face. And guess what? If you fall, go 10 times harder. Like it's saying in Baruch chapter 4, right? You have to do these things to appease the Lord. Make him happy so that he can increase you. The Lord said, in their affliction, they will seek me early. If we're not afflicted as a people right now, I don't know who. He said, hey, I would know these are my people because of afflictions to come, right? And when you read in 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and like verse 60 on down, man, we know who the people of God are because of the things we're going through today. But it says during your affliction, you have to seek the Lord early before it gets too bad to where you fall out the truth and you get sifted. You have to catch it early and seek the Lord, man. If you feel like, okay, I'm praying, I'm fasting, I'm doing this and that, and you feel like you're not getting it, well, keep going. The Lord isn't on your time, you're on his time. It's a season. Maybe it's meant for you to go through these things right now, today. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe for a couple weeks, maybe for a month. Who cares? You got to go through it, right? Not to say who cares, like, hey, you don't have brothers and sisters to strengthen you. But guess what? That's your lot. Are you mad at the Lord for giving you this? You know it isn't judgment because you've checked yourself, right? You checked your spirit. Well, take it. Because you know after you come out of this, you're going to be 10 times better than who you were before. Brothers and sisters, take the affliction because it always makes you better, right? The world love to say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Well, guess what? That's what the Lord does. That's what wisdom does. It tries you, takes you down straight and crooked paths and crooked ways until she can safely trust in you, and then she'll give herself unto you, right? This is how wisdom always goes. Why do you think when brothers and sisters come out of certain afflictions and certain sorrows, they have a lot more knowledge to them, a bigger zeal to go harder for the Lord. This is the Lord giving you that increase and saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to give you a little pat on the back. Keep going. This is what the Lord chooses to do for us, man. But we have to be willing to seek his face early. Because if we seek it too late, you'll damn near be out the truth, man. You'll lose your heritage, lose your God, and lose faith, man. And we can't do that in these last days. Let's go to... I don't want that. Let's go to James. We'll go to James chapter 1. James chapter 1, and we're going to start at verse 12. I can't see all the... Let me see, Salaki. I'm trying to read the comments, but... Oh, you gotta forgive me. Boy, I got this phone set up, y'all. I had this, bear with me. James chapter 1 and verse 12. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. So, think about it. When you make it through these things, and you are enduring temptation, you make it through that mean season. When Satan tempted you, you tell him, hey, get thee hence, Satan. You done did all these things. You're going to receive that crown of life. You're going to receive that token. You're going to receive that pick-me-up. Those prayers that you've been throwing during that time, now he's going to answer them, right? Like I said, the Lord isn't on our time. We're on his time, man. It said, what is a mean season? The mean season refers to the winter time because nothing is growing. It's cold. It's desolate in the land. And this is a lot of times when the things happen the worst. When you read in Matthew chapter 24, during the woes and sorrows to come, during the prophecies that's unveiling now, the Lord said, pray that you don't catch flight in the winter. These is what the Lord, so that's what the mean season is. It's basically going into the winter time or during the time of affliction and great sorrow. But verse 13, Salaki, it said, let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempted he any man. So when we're going through this mean season, if brothers and sisters are truly grounded in the truth, you will take that affliction and you will move on with it. But when you let it kind of creep up on you, you kind of dibbling and dabbling in it, you kind of letting the world sway you a little bit. The sister that you weren't talking to before the mean season started, she kind of just started hitting you up out of nowhere. You're looking, you're like, man, I know that's Satan. I'm going to get through it. A couple weeks later go by. He's like, I'm just going to hear her out. Let me just see what she wants to say. You know she's no good for you. And vice versa. It might be your brother that you know ain't no good, not in the truth, not keeping no commandments. It goes from, I'm not going to talk to him because he's not going to sift me out. Then it goes to, maybe he needs something. Maybe he needed me. Exactly. I could get to wavering. You know, like, maybe if I just hear him out, maybe I can get him in the truth. Now you're making provisions for the flesh. I'll just hear him out and then I can put him in the truth now. But that's not why you're doing it. You're doing it to see where their head at, see where their mind is at. Guess what? I'm not saying all brothers and sisters do it, but guess what most do? You sit there, you make provisions for the flesh, and now you kind of falling. Now it went from just being on the phone, oh, let's go for dinner. Oh, let's go out to eat. Oh, man, we having this party, this kickback, man. Just pull up. Now you done missed the high holy day because you over there kicking it on damn Christmas, New Year's Eve. You having a damn party. And you don't even understand the season that you're going through right now. You done got casted into the fire. You don't know it. You think you still on the straight and narrow path because you at the parties, you at the clubs, you freaking off with your fringes on. He was like, man, I'm good, bro. I got the straight and narrow path on me. I got it, right? Now, guess what? It don't how it gets so carnal because guess what? A brother and sister could be studying so hard, so diligently, fasting off, praying off, doing all these things. But guess what? You could be just like a damn scribe and Pharisee, man. They did these things. They did the works. Well, guess what? They said they did a lot of things, but guess what the Lord said in Matthew 23? Hey, yeah, listen to what they're saying, but don't do after their doings, man. You don't know if they're doing these things after men. Brother might be trying to get all the precepts, all the understanding, just so that he can one-up the next brother. Not to give out edification for the nation, but just to be better than the next person beside him. Man, that's a mighty brother. I want to surpass him. Guess what? Always keep that thought and keep that fire burning to continue to do the work of the Father and continue to expand and grow. But never just try to exalt yourself over another man and you're not doing the work behind it, man. Always stay humble. Always stay grounded. Guess what? Paul even got a glimpse of the third heaven. And he said, I can't tell nobody this because they're going to think I'm better than who I am. This is the amount of meekness that you have to have in these last days. The Lord opened up the book to us in these last days. You don't think we got a lot of things to say and a lot of people to tell and can walk around and flaunt this wisdom so proudly and boastfully? But guess what? We do to certain extents. But guess what? We don't want to use these things for a corrupt manner or to not bring edification to the nation, man. We always have to stay grounded and mindful of the things, man. Because when we lose ourselves, we start using this wisdom that we got for wickedness, man. Like I said, it said trying to impress that shawty who wants to be as a second rib. Man, I'm telling you, man. Now, guess what? Solomon had all the wisdom in the world. You don't think he was a good soothsayer, too? He knew everything, man. Think brothers and sisters get this truth in the Bible. They get the understanding of wisdom. I'm finna get this, sister. I'm finna say this some of this old English. Or you hit it with a shallow one. What that mean? Oh, it's Hebrew. Don't worry about it. It's a little paleo. Paleo. Got him. Guess what? Sister walking around with a good modest dress. Kind of flaunting her eyes a little bit. Oh, sis, you look good. Thank you. Oh, I'm so modest. Shalom. What's that mean? Got him. You don't think we got these things going on in Israel? You got to think twice, man. People are using this truth as a damn gimmick, man, to get men, to get women, to get things out of the Lord what he wanted to, man. And you have to understand the season because that could be your main season. The Lord could have made you lose 30 pounds so that when the winter comes, you can be walking around. And the Lord just sending temptation, sending all these things to tempt you. And guess what? If you are the Lord, they just brushing off, man. But guess what? If you fall from these things, were you really truly cut out for these things? Did you catch it in real time? Come on, man. We got to look at these things and for what it is. Because if we don't, we'll lose, right? Matter of fact, I want to read 14 now that I say that. It says, but every man is tempted when he's drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Then when lust has conceived, it bringeth forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. Verse 16, do not err, my beloved brethren. That's the whole conclusion of the matter. Nobody wants us to mess up. But when we do, we can't blame the Lord. We can't blame the situation that's going on. Don't blame the season because you knew the season. Don't blame anybody but your damn self, man. You sinned against your own body, right? What you read in 1 Corinthians, man. Chapter 6 and verse 18 on down, right? It says, or your family trying to book you up. Hook you up on a blind date with an Edomite. That's damn wicked, man. Wicked as hell. I wish somebody would try to hook me up with an Edomite. Boy, I'm talking about I might blow up or something, man. I wouldn't even know what to do. Should put her ass in a Kurt Angle headlock or something, man. Reverse chicken wing or something, man. I can't do it. Can't do it, man. Go to Ecclesiastes. Don't tell me that's how they try to get you, Brother Lamar. Please don't tell me they try to get you with that, man. I hope they didn't, man. Let's go to Ecclesiastes, man. Chapter 8 and verse 5, man. Ecclesiastes chapter 8 and verse 5. Whoso keepeth the commandment shall feel. Does that feel? So like it shall feel no evil thing. And a wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment. Oh, I feel it. I call praises. Ecclesiastes 8 and 5 from the top. Whoso keepeth the commandment shall feel no evil thing. And a wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment. So guess what? When you're keeping the commandments of the Lord and you're doing the things that the Lord wants you to, that wise man, that Psalms 19 and 7, the law, right? It was making you wise. It says you understand the time and judgment. You know the season. You know what comes around these seasons. You know, like, hey, some wickedness is coming around the corner. It's the season. It's the winter. Things is ramping up. I know it. I got to be prepared for it. You understand the time and judgment. You know what time it is. It's game time, right? All the stuff that I've been getting my body prepared, my mind, my spirit ready, is here. Let me make the Lord proud. Let me not backslide. Let me not be like some of my forefathers and foremothers who didn't keep the commandment of the Lord and fell by the sword and fell by the hands of the Most High God. You understand these things, right? Because watch this, verse 6. Because to every purpose there is a time and judgment. Every purpose and everything that will go on in this world, there's a time for it and there's a judgment for it. You might have did it at this time, but that judgment came later. You may have sinned in 2016 and that judgment came in 2024. Who knows? Because watch this, Lord, it's gonna clear it up. It says, therefore the misery of man is great upon him. Because when you're going through these trials and tribulations and you mess up against your God, either whether it be whether it be before the mean season or after it, or during, you do not know when judgment is going to come. You might have sinned in this mean season, and the Lord wait 2 whole winters. That third winter, he bring it all on you. I'm talking about damn near dry you out, man. And almost get you out of this truth, man. It's great misery, man. Because you don't know when it's coming. You kind of waiting. You checking behind your shoulder. You looking over like, I can't get away from it, right? It says, therefore the misery of man is great upon him. It says, for he knoweth not that which shall be. For who can tell him when it shall be? You think the Lord is going to tell you when judgment is coming? Come on, man. Guess what? The Lord loved David. And he said, hey, I'm going to curse your household. He didn't tell him when. He said, but your son, he told him when his son would die. He said, yeah, your son going to die. But there's going to be a war in your household. Guess what? David was long and gone when Solomon started going off. Guess what? Then after Solomon, you had Jerubbaal and Rehoboam. Look at Israel after this time, man. Look at Ahab. Look at these things and look at the lineage and things that proceeded forth. He did it at that time, and look at all the judgment that lingered on through. Brothers and sisters, you have to understand, if y'all have children, including myself, when you do something off against the Lord, he don't have to give you that judgment. He can put it on your household. You wonder why your damn wife out of order. Wonder why your husband won't listen. He out of order. You wonder why your children don't listen to you, disrespect you. Got a different spirit on them. Because the Lord took that time when you did something and gave the judgment to them, man. Not just to them only, but your whole household. Now you got to deal with it. He done gave you all of that during this season, during this time. What are you going to do? Are you going to seek the Lord's face early in the time of your affliction? Or are you just going to put it off from day to day and sit on your hands? We gotta be mindful of these things, man. Verse 8, it says, there is no man that had power over the spirit to retain the spirit. Neither had he power in the day of death. When I'm talking about, this was heavy when I read it, man, because brothers and sisters, y'all don't know when y'all time is up, man. I'm going to tell you, man, shout out to the brothers in WFI and all the brothers and sisters across the 4 corners of the earth who helped that mighty brother Jonah, man, get the money, get the funds for that funeral, man. Call Allah Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Yahweh for that, man. I'm telling y'all, praise the brothers and sisters for that, man. Like, it really hit home, man, when you can see brothers and sisters that did mighty work for the Lord when they pass. And you got time and you can help out brothers and sisters, man. Because we don't have power of our own spirit, man. Guess what? You know that you can how to retain it. Guess what? You know how to not burn out. But guess what? When you sin, you don't have the authority to be like, Lord, I'm just going to keep my spirit in me. I know I messed up, but I'm going to keep it. Like, Lord, David even said in Psalms 51, take not your Holy Spirit away from me. He couldn't control if the Lord chose to take the spirit away from him or not. It's not up to him no more. You got to understand, man, we don't have the power and authority to do that. Only Yahweh Shai has that thing, man. And it's up to us to prepare our bodies and our spirits for these things. So when seasons like these come, whether it be physical or spiritual, we know how to handle them and make it through, man. It says, neither hath he power in the day of death, and there is no discharge in the war. Neither shall wickedness deliver those that are given to it. Because if you fall into the hands of Satan, you let him have dominion over you. Guess what? Satan can't deliver you from the Most High God. Sin cannot deliver you away from righteousness. If you sinning, the wages of sin is death. So you know what's coming towards you. There's no getting away from it. There's no way to be like, hey, I'm going to stop this sin, but I'm going to let this sin come. No, it's all coming, man. And this is how it goes, man. But like I said, man, it's just all praise to the Most High for y'all brothers and sisters, man. All praise, brothers. All praise for that mighty class. Now, Quam did, man. And just how Israel rose up for that thing, man. I really wanted to come out and say that too, man. For real. But let's go to Sirach, chapter 21, and verse 7. But none of us can retain our spirit, and we don't have time to just waste, to sit on our hands, to let day to day go by, because you don't know when the Lord will take your spirit from you, man. Guess what? Physically or spiritually. If the Lord chose to call a brother and sisters up tonight or tomorrow, we have no power to stop them. The only thing we have the power to do is control and put in captivity our thoughts and our mind, man. To get our bodies in order, to get our spirits right. So when the Lord does call your number, you're ready, man. You found yourself faithful in this sight. I'm talking about, this is some heavy stuff right here, man. It's heavy. Because watch this, the book of Sirach, chapter 21 and verse 7. I meant to pull this a little earlier. It says, the eloquent man is known far and near, but a man of understanding knows when he's slipping. Because the thing is, I wanted to read this actually before I read that verse 5. You got to understand, when you fall, well, that verse 8, Salakia, we can't retain our spirit. But guess what? You know when you slipping, you know when you finna get ready to lose it. Man, I can feel like the Lord finna blow my candlestick out. I can feel he finna take my spirit from me. You know it, because an eloquent man who knows the truth, who has an understanding of the Bible, you know when you're slipping, man. You know when your study habits done fell off. You know when you're reading, you're fasting, you're praying has fell off. The works that you do with the Lord, man. Your physical works, the cleaning, the cooking around the building, the giving of alms. You know when you're slipping, man. And guess what? The Lord isn't. He's going to give you signs. He's going to chasten you little by little. But then eventually, it's gone, man. One day you're here, the next day you're gone. Whether he takes your body or whether he takes your spirit from you. We all in the Lord's hands, man. And we got to get right. I'm talking about we got to get right, brothers and sisters, because the Lord said in Romans 13:11, said the day of the Lord is at hand, man. The time is short, man. We have to be ready, man. It's crazy. I'm talking about this is how we got to do it. This is how we have to be in these last days, man. Let's go to Proverbs real quick. Proverbs chapter 10. Man, I'm telling you, man, brothers and sisters, that should feel some of y'all spirit, man. I just felt a big heaviness in my spirit, man, because I know I got to do a lot better for the Lord. He done did a lot for me, pulling me out of this world. I was just thinking, I literally just sat here and thought about it before I did class. I was sitting there, I was looking at my age, and I was like, man, what was I doing at this age? I was like, I was in the truth. And I was just sitting there thinking, I was like, bro, the Lord literally took me out of this world at my teenage years and allowed me to try to become a man in the truth, man. That's a mighty thing of the Lord to do for me, for my household, for my life. The Lord took me at a young age and is trying to craft me and mold me to a man in his image. I can't let him down, man. I cannot. I'm going to do everything in my possibility to try to do these things, man. We know Proverbs 24:16, a just man is going to fall. I know I'm going to fall in this truth, but I have to catch myself, man, and get back up. Brothers and sisters, when y'all going through these mean seasons and these trials and tribulations, you have to know how to get up. If you don't get up, you're going to fall, man. Because I love the ending of that. It says, but the wicked shall fall into mischief. You have to know when you're falling, man. Because if you don't know when you're falling, you'll fall back into the world. You will, man. Let's get this Proverbs chapter 10, man. Proverbs chapter 10. And I'm starting at verse 3. The book of Proverbs chapter 10 and verse 3. The Lord will not suffer the soul of the righteous to famish, but he casteth away the substance of the wicked. When you're going through this season, you're preparing for the harvest, and you're harvesting all your crops, basically all your works and all your fruits. The Lord is not going to let you go hungry during these seasons if you run out. If you truly trust on him and you're doing your best, guess what? He's not going to let you go hungry. He's always going to give you that word. He's going to give you that living water. He's going to give you all of these things, man. He's not going to allow you to famish. But it says, but he casteth away the substance of the wicked. But if you think you finna carry some wickedness into this mean season, into this winter time, you think you finna be wicked as hell during dedications and during these new moons and various feasts we have during this time, you a damn fool. You a damn fool. You think you finna dedicate the Lord's temple with some wickedness. And that's another thing. We have the Feast of Dedication in the winter. All the stuff that you don't put up in harvest, now you dedicate it to the Lord. What if you ain't got nothing to dedicate to the Lord? Would you just gonna pull some sin out your trick bag and be like, here, Lord, you can have my sins. Take that. Take this adultery. Take it. Right? Yeah, I've been wicked, nigga. This is how these things, think about these things, man. He takes away the substance of the wicked. He casts that away. He don't want it. He don't want a nigga woman dedicating their temple. He don't want a nigga. He don't want an out of order Israelite, man. He wants somebody who's truly coming to him, who's understanding who he is, wants to truly change his or her life and come back to him wholeheartedly, man. The Lord is not accepting the less of us, man. He wants the best. He wants the most that you can give him. Like I said in Sirach, when you glorify the Lord, you can never go hard enough, man. You can never give enough. You think you gave enough alms, guess what? You can give more. Because guess what? Christ laid down his life for us. What more can we not give, man? We always have opportunity to give and always have opportunity to do these things, man. And we always got to be ready, right? But, matter of fact, let's read on. Verse 4. He becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich. During them times when it's time to get right, you will become poor if you deal with a slack hand. If you're sitting there, you're like, I'm going to read, but then you don't read. I'm going to study, don't study. I'm going to go to Sabbath class, don't go to Sabbath class. Go to the streets, but you don't go to the streets. Oh, it's the new moon, but I'm not going to clean up. I'm not going to cook. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to show my face. This is a slack hand. The Lord said you gonna become poor like this. You're going to be out there wondering why, damn, why can't I retain precepts? Damn, why is the Lord judging me so hard? What is going on? Because this is your season. This is what the Lord choosing to put you through. Why? For your disobedience, man. That's right. Quality over quantity, man. He wants the best of our best, man. He doesn't want you to give it with a slack hand. Here. You know when you owe somebody some money, you know you owe them some money. This is how Israel do. They borrowed $20. You was so open, like, here, brother, yeah, you can have that 20. You asked for it back. Her, nigga, you can have that little funky little 20. It wasn't funky when you got it. But that's how we do for the Lord. The Lord bless us. Guess we might give you a new job. Guess what? He gave you this truth. And this is what you do. Here goes some studying I've been doing that week. Here. Yeah, I gave some alms here, nigga. Yeah, I killed that old woman yesterday. Yeah, I listened to my hook. Here. Yeah, I did. I let that nigga make it. I made him some breakfast. You think the Lord want that? You think the Lord is accepting something like that? Come on, man. Ask Cain. I'm pretty sure he did it just like that. Yeah, here, Lord. Yeah, here you go. Yeah, here, take that. So what he say? Like Smokey Mama said, or Smokey said to his mama, he said, wait, this ain't enough. The Lord told us it ain't enough. Guess what we said? Make it enough. The Lord said, okay, lights out. Why? Because you got a slack hand, man. You don't want to put your hand on the plow and you'll look back. He's like, damn, how much longer I got to go? This is how it goes, man. It says he becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich. When you work hard, you doing the things that you know the Lord wants you to do, he'll make you rich and prosperous in your kingdom, man. And within your temple, so like it. It says, he that gathereth in summer is a wise son, but he that sleepeth in harvest is a son that causeth shame. During the time of summertime and all these times when we go get out of winter, you should be harvesting. You should be working. You should be gathering. So when this winter come and these mean seasons come upon brothers and sisters, you ready for it. You got enough in the storehouse. You got enough in the tank to make it through, man. Guess what? Brothers and sisters get past Passover and be like, I'm finna make it to another Passover. If the Lord don't end it, and the Lord don't take me, I'm going to make it to another Passover. Because why? I'm finna gather everything that I make from here, through first fruits, through dedications, through tabernacles, through atonement. I'm finna get all of this in order. So when this season come, I got it all for him, man. All that in the bag of chips, right? Come on, man. But guess what? If you don't, you somebody who the Lord is ashamed of you. Damn, I brought this nigga in the truth for what? So he could do this? I brought sister in the truth for what? So that she could keep being a whore? Keep being a thought? Keep being slack with her hands? She can sew like a mud. Used to sew Jerubbaal pants together whenever he made a hole on his knees for shooting dice all night. But then when it's time to put some fringes on the shirt, she can't do it. What is she good for? Damn, Ak used to be a great workman, man. Did everything at the cookouts and the family reunions, but I give him a new moon to do the same thing. He don't do it. You think the Lord is taking these things, man? You think he takes it lightly that we doing these things? Man. This ass California. It's hot, man. Come on, man. We got to quit playing. We're going to stay in Proverbs, man. Let's go to chapter 20. We're almost out of here, y'all. Chapter 20 and verse 4. Proverbs chapter 20 and verse 4, man. The book of Proverbs chapter 20 and verse 4. The sluggard will not plow by reason of the cold. I'm talking about, man. This ain't what it is right now. I don't know what it is. It get cold outside. That winter come. Oh, well, that's it. I can't do nothing else. Guess what? Just because you got some stuff stored up, it might not be enough. You might have to, hey, let me try to get some winter crops going. Let me try to get these crops going and make sure I harvest them so that when these give out the spring harvest, I got enough in the winter to make it through. Brothers, just be mindful of the things that's going, right? It says the sluggard will not plow by reason of the cold. Therefore, he shall beg and harvest and have nothing. You're going to have these brothers and sisters begging during the wintertime. Oh, man, I need this. I need understanding. I need precepts. I need to stay in this truth. You got to keep me in the truth. I don't got to do nothing but to love you, to give out the understanding, to love my Lord, and guess what, to do all these things. But it's up to you to keep the commandments and live. It's up to you. That's why the Lord said the kingdom of heaven is within you because it's yours to make it or it's yours to lose, man. Maybe it's the time of the Lord and the season for him to cast you away. Who knows? We don't know the time when the Lord is going to take that spirit away from you, man. But you always have to stay diligent so that when he does, you're found faithful, right? So like you, brothers and sisters, I'm trying to see how much battery I got so I don't cut out on y'all. Look at this last little precept, man. And get Psalm chapter 147. I've been kind of meditating on this precept. No, I pulled it out last mean season, and I'm going to pull it this mean season. And if the Most High God give me allowance for another one, I'm going to pull it again. And this is how we do it, right? The book of Psalms, chapter 147 and verse 16. Matter of fact, I'm going to start at verse 15. The book of Psalms, chapter 147 and verse 15. He sendeth forth his commandment upon earth. His word runneth very swiftly. He giveth snow like wool. He scattered the hoar frost like ashes. He casteth forth the ice like morsels. Who can stand before his cold? Man, when I tell you, man, it was cold like a mud down here in Texas and Dallas. I know it's cold in all up north on the East Coast. We know it ain't cold on the West Coast right now, but but guess what? Who can stand before the Lord in the cold, man? When the Lord brings all these things upon you, do you think you can stand before him? Nah, you can't run towards it. You got to stand. You got to hunker down. Guess what? That's what the Lord said in Matthew chapter 7. When the winds blew and the storms came, guess what? That house, it was built on a sturdy and sure foundation. It didn't go nowhere. Brothers and sisters, y'all should be building y'all foundation during the time of harvest, getting your spirit in order. So when these things come upon us, we can stand firm and bold in the Lord, man. Because nobody's going to be able to stand before this cold, man. Nobody will. But guess what? Only the strong survive and they can endure this thing, man. This is how the Lord goes, right? Verse 18, he sendeth out his word and melted them. He causes his wind to blow and the waters to flow. So guess what, man? When it's cold, when it's when it's so cold and you feel like you can't make it out, the Lord said he sent out his word and melted them. We need this word to melt us, brothers and sisters. When we're going through our cold and our spirit and everything is slowing down, we need the word to pick us back up, man. Because we know ice moves a little slow, but once you start heating it up, it get faster and faster, turn into a liquid, man. Even on a molecular level, the ice, they don't move. Once you turn into liquid, it moves even faster, right? Turn into a gas, it moves even faster. You should be burning with zeal for the Lord during these times, man. And if you don't, guess what? You need the word to melt all that ice away, man. It says he causes the winds to blow and the waters to flow. Verse 19, he showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He have not dealt so with any nation, and for his judgments, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. Because guess what? The Lord only gave it to us, man. He gave you these trials and tribulations. Why? Because you got the commandments. He given the heathen their judgment. Why? Because they're heathen. They have nothing. They are nothing. There's a drop of a bucket. They're the little spit on the side of your mouth. That's what they are. But the Lord is giving you these trials and tribulations. He's giving you this mean season. He's giving you these high holy days, these feast days, these chastisements, these curses, these blessings. That brother, that sister, that husband, that wife, that family. He's giving all these things to you. Why? To prove you faithful at the end of the day, man. And it's up to you as Jacob, as Israel, to endure these things, man. And if you don't, the Lord will cast you off. But if you do, you'll receive that crown of life, man. Forever, for everlasting, man. And with that, man, we're going to say shalom. Shalom to brothers and sisters that tuned in, man. Y'all like, share, and subscribe. Help us push this truth around the four corners of the earth, man. Thank you, brothers and sisters that give to the GoFundMe and to the Cash App. That money is being greatly used, not only for just bills, but guess what? In order to try to get alms enough to get to a city near you. Brothers and sisters, the more that we continue to grow as Israel, as a camp, as a nation, we can do a lot more things that the Lord is an allowance for us to do. So we thank you, brothers and sisters, for all those things, man. Thank you, brothers and sisters, that give those spiritual alms, man, those sacrifices, man. Guess what? Making your body a living temple, throwing up righteous prayer, righteous fastings, doing these things for the edification of the nation, man, the water, man. Here at the Battle Axes, we always finish with a law, statute, or a commandment. We're going to finish with a law for today, man. Shalom, shalom. Zakomanta. I want to say if I'm saying that right. Shalom, shalom. I know I seen your text earlier or your comment, man. I didn't get to it. I appreciate that, man. Salakia, man. But the water, all praise to the Most High. We're going to get Deuteronomy chapter 11 and verse 13. Deuteronomy chapter 11 and verse 13. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 11 and verse 13. And it shall come to pass, if you shall hearken diligently unto my commandments, which I command you this day, to love the Lord your God, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, that I will give you the rain of your land in his due season, the first rain and the latter rain. If we stay diligent and we continue to keep the commandments of the Lord, and we gather when the Lord tells us to gather, and do all the things that he wants us, he will give us that increase when we need it. Guess what? Don't you think we need some rain right now? This rain might turn to snow, but then the word, guess what, gonna melt it away and turn it back into the water that we need to be fed with, right? To be drunken by. This is how the Lord does these things, man. He will give you the understanding and give you that increase and give you that ability to endure during seasons like this, so that we continue to make it, right? Shabbat means Sabbath. So Shabbat Shalom, right? Or Shabbat Shalom means peace be unto you on the Sabbath, right? Basically, happy Sabbath, something like that, right? Or something along those lines. It says that I will give you the rain of your land in his due season, the first and the latter rain, that thou mayest gather in thy corn, and thy wine, and thy oil. And I will send grass in thy fields for thy cattle, that thou mayest eat and be full. This is what the Lord will give y'all if we continue to stay diligent and hearken to the word of the Lord, man. Let's see what Capt y'all talking about. Said tell Zion, I said what's up. Said you mean fat man, not pooty poo. Man, pooty poo, man. He probably knocked out. That boy ate like 3 slices of pizza with all the sauce, with everything. 2 drinks. He out of there, y'all. Look, y'all see him most high willing tomorrow. Y'all can give him all that love and all the snacks that you want come that time. But, man, like I said, man, the water brothers and sisters for tuning in. Y'all stay warm, stay safe. Continue to keep that fire burning brighter within y'all spirits, within yourselves, man. Lord willing, I can catch y'all on another Shabbat next week. Most high willing. If not, man, and we in the kingdom or in that second wilderness, man, most high willing that he give us a spirit of allowance to all be together. Till that time, man, Shabbat Shalom, brothers and sisters.